Hi, Bill Henshaw here again, another one of my YouTube current events videos. And this one relates to both COVID and all the crap that's going on with the law enforcement thugs. And it's just getting way out of hand. New York bankers are doing a terrific job here of misdirecting people as to what the real agenda is here. Okay, racial injustice has little to do with what's going on here. Yeah, there certainly has been some, there's no denying that. Just like with COVID, there are some numbers, but that's not the real agenda in either case. And they both have the same agenda, which is to get us into overt federal, regional, martial law rule. And as quickly as that can be done. My job is to prevent that. One way I can do that is to have you order my materials. Send me an email, youwinnincourt@gmail.com. I've got some killer documents now, including a COVID packet to help deal with this martial law crap they're trying to put over on us. And we can do it. We just have to understand what's really going on here and why. And all this business now, they're changing the name of Robert E. Lee High School right outside of Washington, D.C. There's a lot of quote unquote controversy about the Mississippi flag, pulling down statues, especially Andrew Jackson. And by the way, the New York bankers have to love that one, because if you don't know, Jackson was well known. He ran his whole re-election campaign in 1832 on taking down the second bank of the United States and Nicholas Biddle. That's the precursor of the Federal Reserve. So they should have no problem seeing his statue torn down. Not only would you not go to jail, they'd probably pay you a big reward for doing it. That's how ignorant most Americans are of American history. And I was just like them when I came out of high school. I didn't know Jack Taco either. They didn't teach me. I found out later when I went on my own mission, Valentine's Day 1983, which I hope will be the latter-day St. Valentine's Day massacre when I first got arrested. But that said, all of this nonsense has to stop. Civil rights doesn't exist. The 14th Amendment doesn't exist. You get my materials, you get a brief on the 14th Amendment, unopposed, that shows that the ratification with the capital RAT violated all 6 articles of the Constitution. The real, albeit secret, agenda of the 14th Amendment was to make citizens out of corporations. You claim that citizenship today, guess what? You're saying I'm a slave just as surely as the freedmen were 150 years ago. What progress have you made in doing that, one might ask? But it's what they want, and they wanted to enslave at the same time, make everybody equal, not by raising the freedmen to our level, which they couldn't do the way they attempted it, but to make us all level by reducing us to their level as slaves and as residents of the District of Columbia. That's what that amendment really did. But they didn't bother to tell anybody who ratified the amendment that's what was going on. With my materials, you'll see clearly and unambiguously that's what happened with that amendment. That's what they did. They destroyed the states in the process. They didn't disappear overnight. They couldn't very well get away with that, but they did disappear. And by 1913, you get the 16th and 17th Amendments. Effectively, there's no states to ratify anything. For those of you at the IRS, you can forget about the 16th Amendment with tax. And those of you who are in the Senate and elected by the people, you're not even there, because senators are appointed by state legislatures in the Republican form of government we're supposed to have. They're not there. And there's a lot more to that, by the way, with Republican form of government. It's not just that issue, but trust me, this is what the banksters don't want you to know, because we beat them with these issues. We get our republic back, get them the hell out of there. Been there for at least 85 years with the damn New Deal under Roosevelt. Oh, get me started on him. Anyway, the point I wanted to make is that this window we have, extraordinary, unprecedented, and for those of you that may be facing claims for allegedly due past rent, for example, or past mortgage payments or student loan payments, we have a great chance not only to defeat those claims, but to make counterclaims, because we can prove that we were fraudulently induced to enter agreements that they knew were dead on arrival from day one. That's called legally null and void, nunc pro tunc ab initio. They never told us all the terms of the contract, and if that happens at common law, the contract is void from day one. What we have to do is get back into common law states so we can make those claims. And when we do that, these corporate entities can't even come into a common law court. They lack standing. One of the things you'll learn by acquiring my material, send me an email, youwinincourt@gmail.com, and you'll be amazed what you find out. I certainly was when I had my aha moment. It was astounding. And I was a slow learner. It took me 10,000 hours in those musty old stacks of law books in the law libraries, but I got it. And I have it. And like I say, with this recent win with my friend we just had in the U.S. Supreme Court, and it's not the type of win you read about the next day in the papers. That's true. I've said that. But he's going to win his case because it's the same case the court decided, in favor of the claimant in that case. And my friend presented a better case that they couldn't rule on. And you look at my video on that. We just did this one, and you'll see what I'm saying and why, because he asked much better questions. And that's what we need to do to force them to answer them. And either admit that there's no constitution, which they're not going to do, or recognize our rights, as citizens, not corporate citizens, but citizens, that we have rights here and we can enforce them in judicial courts. That's a major big deal. It shouldn't be. I don't think any of the framers, with the exception of maybe Hamilton, would have thought that. But they did a pretty good job of setting this government up. It wasn't perfect. There'll probably never be a perfect one. But our government was the best one ever set up, and I want it back. With improvements, that's even better. But if we get back to what we had, we can work with that and deal with a lot of issues, get back to local government, less expensive, more efficient, and we have local responsible parties. We can go in there, invoke our right to instruct our representatives and or petition for redress of grievance. If we're able to do those things, now government's going to work a hell of a lot more like it should, and we can make it happen. So that said, send me an email for information, youwinincourt@gmail.com. Like the videos, subscribe, tell your friends, get the word out. We have a window, we can beat these bastards and turn the tables on them. It may never happen again, certainly in my lifetime. But the opportunity is here. We got a good, looks like 5 or 6 months until they develop this COVID vaccine, if they ever get one developed. And they're going to come around with that with martial law. So this is unprecedented. So it's going to take a little time and effort on your part, but you won't have to go to law school 4 years to learn what you need to know. I can do that for you with materials that these people should be teaching in law schools these days. Starboard, Bayle, Berkeley, not teaching it anymore. They don't want even their attorneys to know for the most part. So it's a hell of an education, and you can use this, by the way, to learn yourself and teach your children. They're not going to learn in their schools either, but you can give them a heads up and a big jump start on things when they get to be adults. It's knowing what goes on and why it does. That's an added bonus. So people, we can get out there and exercise our rights. And like Jefferson once said, eternal vigilance is the price of liberty. It's going to take a little time and effort, but aren't your kids worth it? I mean, think about that. So like I said, subscribe, like the videos, tell your friends, get the word out. Thank you.